The Dallas Cowboys are at one of those crossroads moments that define franchises. Not just seasons, but eras. After a year that left more questions than answers, the organization is staring directly at its own reflection, trying to figure out what still works, what clearly doesn't, and what absolutely must change if this team wants to reclaim its place at the top of the NFL. I'm Carlos Eduardo, and I want to talk directly to Cowboys fans about what this moment really means for Dallas, because this isn't just about a bad season on paper. This is about identity, direction, and whether the Cowboys are truly prepared to turn belief into results. From a factual standpoint, 2025 was a season the Cowboys would rather forget. A 7-9-1 record under first-year head coach Brian Schottenheimer doesn't meet the standard in this building. It doesn't meet the standard of this fan base. And it certainly doesn't meet the standard of a franchise that has spent decades carrying the label of America's team. Now, here's where it gets important to separate emotion from reality. Offensively, the Cowboys were not the problem. Dak Prescott led an offense that scored 471 points over the course of the season. That's not a fluke. That's not accidental. That's a quarterback operating in his prime, commanding the offense, understanding the system, and producing at a level that tells you the foundation on that side of the ball is real. But football doesn't allow imbalance. And the defense simply collapsed. Giving up 511 points across a season is unacceptable at this level, especially for a team with playoff aspirations. That reality forced the Cowboys into a decision they couldn't avoid, moving on from Matt Eberflus after just one season. It wasn't personal. It was performance. And in Dallas, performance is everything. The decision to bring in Christian Parker as the new defensive coordinator is one of the most defining moves of this offseason. Parker comes from Philadelphia, where he worked as a defensive pass game coordinator, and he brings with him a deep background coaching defensive backs. More importantly, from my perspective, he brings something this Cowboys defense has been missing for a while now: structure and coverage and accountability on the back end. There's also the Vic Fangio influence, and that matters more than people might realize. Fangio's defensive philosophy is built on discipline, communication, and forcing quarterbacks to be patient. If Parker can translate even a portion of that mindset into Dallas, the ripple effect could be massive. Now, analysts around the league see it too. Brad Gagnon from Bleacher Report summed up the Cowboys' current state in one sentence, and honestly, it's hard to argue with it. The offensive core is locked in. The leadership is established. The philosophy is clear. But what they do on defense, especially with this coordinator hire and their 2 first-round draft picks, will likely determine whether this team takes a step forward in 2026. And if I'm being honest with Cowboys fans, I agree with that assessment. What I see on this roster is a team that's closer than its record suggests, but also more fragile than its talent implies. There are pieces on defense that can absolutely anchor a turnaround. Quinnen Williams brings power and disruption inside. Osa Odigizua has shown consistency and growth. Kenny Clark provides veteran stability. DeMarvion Overshown plays with speed and urgency. Darren Bland has already proven he can be a game-changer in the secondary. Those are facts. Those players matter. But here's my opinion, and I won't dance around it. Depth is the problem. Consistency is the problem. And situational execution is the problem. When injuries hit, when offenses adjust, when games tighten late in the fourth quarter, this defense didn't have answers. And in the NFC East, that's a death sentence. You're playing teams that know you. Teams that hate you. Teams that measure their season by how they perform against Dallas. Philadelphia, New York, Washington, these aren't just games. These are pressure cookers. And too often last season, the Cowboys cracked. That's why the upcoming draft is absolutely critical. Dallas holds the 12th and 20th overall picks in the first round. That's real capital. That's an opportunity to inject immediate talent, especially at defensive end and cornerback, the 2 most pressing needs on this roster. From my perspective, you don't overthink this. You don't get cute. You find players who can contribute right now, players who can rotate, players who can survive in high-leverage moments. Because the clock is ticking, whether fans like to admit it or not. Dak Prescott is still in his prime. CeeDee Lamb is one of the most dynamic receivers in football. Micah Parsons is a defensive force who can change games by himself. Trayvon Diggs, when healthy, alters how offenses call plays. This core deserves a defense that doesn't betray them. And that's where history comes in. This franchise was built on balance. Tom Landry demanded precision. Roger Staubach embodied leadership. Emmitt Smith punished defenses. Troy Aikman controlled games. Michael Irvin set the emotional tone. Those Cowboys teams weren't perfect, but they were complete. Offense and defense moving together. Talent supported by discipline. That's the standard. That's the shadow every Cowboys team lives under. AT&T Stadium, Jerry World, still carries that energy. When that building is full and loud, it's special. You feel it. You hear it. You know what it means. But atmosphere alone doesn't win games. Execution does. So where does that leave us heading into 2026? In my opinion, this is a defining year for the Schottenheimer era. The offense has shown enough to earn trust. The defense, under Christian Parker, must show immediate improvement. Not perfection. Improvement. Fewer blown coverages. Better communication. Stronger finishes. If that happens, this team can compete. If it doesn't, then we're having a very different conversation this time next year. Cowboys fans are demanding, and they should be. This is Dallas football. This is expectation. This is pressure. And the players in that locker room know it. So as this offseason unfolds, remember this: the window is still open. But it won't stay that way forever. What the Cowboys do now, on defense, in the draft, and in development, will decide whether this team rises again, or stays stuck looking at what might have been.